ABT writers have inspired you
Over the years, I love Ian Forrester, Edmund White. The first gay novel. There were two first gay novels that I read fairly young. One was City and the Pillar by Roald Dahl, which is a complicated, strange book, but at the time it was amazing to me that someone had written this. And the other was a friend of mine. I was in his a friend of mine who was very well read and was way more worldly at 18 than I was. We were over. He didn't live at home, but we were at his house, his parents' house, and he was in his bedroom picking out things. I had a car, and I had taken him there and to pick up a few things from his house, parents' house. And we were going through his closet, and he started flinging books at me. And he said, "Oh, here, read this." And it was Nocturnes for the King of Naples. And I read it that summer, and it was a kind of an eye-opening experience for me, more so than the City and the Pillar, because the prose style of Edmund White was so rich and baroque that it had an effect on me. Whereas Roald Dahl's was, very plain-spoken and very dry. So, but just off the top of my head, that was. Although I don't think that I write like that at all.
Sorry. So there are some authors that are very associated with New Orleans. Were you intimidated by that when you set out?
Not at all.
How did you maybe incorporate or play off of, or nothing?
No, not at all. But I did, when I told my mother that I wanted to be a writer, the first thing that she said to me was, "Oh, like Tennessee Williams?" And at the time, I sort of laughed about that because it was really funny to me that she would pick the one gay writer everyone knows in the world. But no, I wasn't intimidated at all. And I love Tennessee Williams' short stories. He practiced his themes for the plays by writing short stories. That was all of the plays are there pretty much in the early short stories. And so when you go back and read them, I find it fascinating. But no, I love Tennessee Williams. I sort of neglect him. Thank you for reminding me. Any other question?
On the theme of Tennessee Williams, some people think that his plays were really about gay people, and that he, had to assign some of the characters female names just so that they could get published and performed. Do you think that's the case, or do you think New Orleans and Louisiana are just that?
Well, I think with any sort of writer, I think it's less to do about gender than it is segments of personality. If you look at Blanche DuBois, part of Blanche is him, definitely. If you read a lot about him, but part of Amanda is him in Vice Menagerie. I mean, it's not. I think it's like writers build character using Lego building blocks, and there's in his memory there's this part or this action or this event or this feeling from one person that's put into the character, and then maybe someone else from this life. I think really the only truly single person that he wrote about, and that was only that person was probably his sister. And he wanted to protect her memory. And so that was, I think that any, portrait of a character is, that's probably the one person that he really truly protected as a whole, as an entity, as a unitary.
One more question.
Okay.
On the theme of Lego blocks for the writer, did you use any of your Lego blocks for that last scene?
I don't write autobiographies. Yeah. Yes. They're, I write from what I know. I'm not afraid of writing what I don't know, but I write from what I know. And I've kept a journal for many years, and my journal is the resource. I write down every overheard conversation. I'm a thief, and I take it from my friends, and they know it, and they love it. They love me for it in spite of it, I think. So. But yes, those are the building blocks, and the best thing that a writer ever told me to do was to keep a journal, and I've done it since 1989. And I put everything in the notebook. I mean, from theater tickets to clippings from magazines to stray thoughts. Bad poetry, really bad poetry. I'm not a poet, but it all goes in there, and I look at it constantly.
Something I've read about. I grew up south of New Orleans and lived in New Orleans for about 10 years. So
Black and Booth Parent?
I lived in Lafourche.
Oh.
It's very noticeable that a lot of writers, whenever they write about New Orleans or just Louisiana in general, the places become characters, and I really enjoy reading those types of stories. Do you recommend any other authors that use New Orleans as a main character?
New Orleans is a main character in any other.
Maybe not a main character, but definitely becomes part of the character of the story. Like, for example, Brother Silences.
Oh yes. Well. I met his mother once. Offhand, that's probably to answer your own question. That's probably the best example. Well, the moviegoer to a certain extent too, but there's probably the moviegoer, I would think, but offhand, no, I can't. Nothing that strikes me as much as your own example.
Well, I do enjoy Poppy Z. Wright. She does, similar to your stories, definitely there is some characters in place settings where some of the stories take place.
When I was in college at the University of New Orleans, I did a long paper, one of my writing courses. Thelma came to the college to read, and I went to the reading, and she read 2 or 3 paragraphs, and then mostly answered questions and talked about her son after. And the funniest thing is she had this bag that she carried with her, and on one side it had the dust jacket from the book, because the book had come out like, a year and a half later. And on the other, I think the paperback had come out. And on one side was the dust jacket, and on the other side it had LSU Press brings home the baby. And so we were talking, and she, had her shtick like Quentin Griswold is. She had, at that point, she had been very well practiced in doing the circuit, the book circuit. But it was interesting to meet her. But I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, she is the exact opposite of the mother in the story. Only, she was very prim, very put together, but every single over-the-top thing that he talks about the mother in the book, keeping the muscatel wine in the oven and all of that stuff, you could see that she was the exact mirror image. You could never imagine her drinking, Gallo wine or anything. Probably didn't even drink. So, but anyway, I kept thinking of the end of the book when Ignatius is coming into the house and he's telling Myrna to get all of my notebooks and jottings and everything. We have, to leave. We're leaving because I don't want my mother to get me. She will make a fortune out of it. And so that's the way I ended my paper, was that in fact she did. She did exactly what Ignatius said that she would do. She got the book published and she